Okay, I think we'll start, Mr. Desai. So,
Yes.
welcome everybody. Welcome to a wonderful talk by Mr. Ashank Desai as part of our Festex event. I'll just give a quick introduction to Mr. Desai. Mr. Desai is the founder, vice chairman, and MD of Mastek Limited, which is now Mastek, a $200 million plus publicly held IT player with global operations providing solutions to government, retail, and the banking and financial sector. Majesco, the demerged entity from Mastek, was listed in the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ before going private. It was the first pure play software products company from India to be listed in the US stock exchanges. He is the managing trustee of Mastek Foundation, which works with around 25 NGOs. Mr. Desai is widely recognized as an industry veteran and is one of the founder members and past chairman of NASSCOM and has been associated with NASSCOM for the past 32 years. He was a former president of Oceanian Computing Industry Organization, an association of 20 countries in this region. Welcome, Mr. Desai. Welcome to Vidya. I know you've been associated with. Is my voice clear, Mihala? Somebody seems to be messaging that my voice isn't clear.
For me, it is clear, Swami.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Desai, welcome to Vidya. All of our students have gathered here. They know of your illustrious past. They know all that you've done. We'd love for you to speak to them and inspire them because in this past week, I have seen a lot of their exhibits and I've been wowed by the projects that they've taken up in robotics and computing and in various fields. What we're waiting for is for you to inspire them with your words of wisdom. Welcome, Mr. Desai.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks for your kind introduction. Thanks to Vidya for inviting me today to talk to all of you. Good afternoon to all of you, students, teachers, the women, budding entrepreneurs, I would call them, and all the audience, which is, I can't see obviously. But it is a great privilege to speak for Vidya for simple reason that I respected Rashmi ji since she was in IIT Bombay when Mr. Ashok Mishra, her husband, was the director. And I was really amazed by her energy and her ability to make things happen was really something which was very infectious, I must say. But I came to know about her achievements when I heard about Vidya. And it's more than 35-year-old organization and doing amazing work, starting from Delhi to now all over India. So it was really an inspiration for me to see Vidya's success. And in fact, if you want entrepreneurship lessons, I think you have a person very near to all of you, which is Rashmi ji, how she made it happen, because that's again an entrepreneurial story. But I'll focus on what I have to speak today. So what I'll do is I'll speak for some time, 15-20 minutes, and I want to focus more on the questions that some of you have asked, which are very, very important and good questions. So I'll answer them, in which some of my messages will come. So all of you must aspire to be an entrepreneur in some form or the other during your long lifetime that you have ahead of you. As I say to young girls and young young students today, you have 85 years of life ahead of you because all of you will live 100 years given the health revolution that's happening in the world. So are you going to sit at home? No. You have to go out and make some things happen. And entrepreneurship is one of the best way of making it happen. I won't say it's the only way. We need people in all the fields. We need people in academia. We need people in government. We need people in companies working and delivering. And we need entrepreneurs. But entrepreneurship has a special edge because it allows you an opportunity to express yourself much better probably because of the freedom that you have at least first many years, to do what you would like to do. So the point is, if that is be the case, why would you not look at that as one of your career options? And entrepreneurship does three things to the country. One, it of course generates a business which satisfies a lot of customers. After, you won't be entrepreneur unless you have a customers who buy your services. So if I buy even a small masala dosa from you, you are satisfying my need. So you as an entrepreneur have created an happiness at one level by meeting my needs. Number two, you are doing is you are providing jobs. You are creating jobs. And today, as you know, in India, most of the jobs are created by small and medium-sized businesses, 70–80%. And entrepreneurs are part of that group. And coming years, it is going to be more so because of technology and so on. So you will create jobs. And last but not least, and important, you do create wealth for your shareholders and your stakeholders who invest in you, which is also important, because if we do that, we increase the per capita income, as they say, the income of people around you, of your shareholders, of your employees, and so on and so forth. So I think you do a very, very important job in the nation's well-being, in nation's growth, by being an entrepreneur. So look at that as a career, a lifetime journey for you to make that difference. And what will happen out of it? If you become entrepreneur, it will be the greatest satisfaction to you, yourself, because the kind of happiness you will get when you look at the organizations that you have created, the customers who are talking good about you, shareholders that talking good about you because you have created well for them, and employees who come and say, sir, you have opened a door for me to be my career, and I opened that door, which happens with Mastek, by the way. Today, just 2 hours ago, I was talking to a person who worked in Mastek for 8–9 years and has started HR software company. He has worked hard and now he is reaching a level where he is seeing the success. So he says, sir, I have learned from Mastek. I looked at all of Mastek's history, entrepreneurship, and I felt that I should also be entrepreneur. So you become also a role model in a way and inspire many others to become entrepreneur. So those are the benefits of becoming entrepreneur. Having said that, like any other journey, it's a hard work, which is what I want to describe you next few moments, what it means to build an organization, will be a successful entrepreneur, because you want to be that. So here is what is required. At first level, I think you need to think about it and not just like that. Just because somebody starts a business, I start a business, I advise many of them, please don't do it. Please look at 3 things before you start a business. First and foremost, and this is extremely important, what is that you love to do? What is that you are passionate about? Because if you don't have that, and if you are starting a company just because you want to be successful and make money in short run, I don't think you are in the right business. You may be lucky and may be successful. I am not ruling that out, but that's not a good foundation to start with. So first and foremost, find out what really you love to do. You may be love to do just draw paintings. Then you will be good painter and be good entrepreneur at that level. Maybe you can hire many other painters and become an organization. The point I'm making is, what is that you love to do is question 1, you need to answer. Number 2 that you need to answer is what you are good at doing also. Suppose you love to do, let's say, sports. You love to see sports, you love to play, but you yourself may not be the greatest expert in the sports. then you may have difficulty in making and building that organization. You can always hire people. It's not that it is not necessary. However, if you are good at something, that kind of shows up in terms of your day-to-day work, because then you will hire also people better than you. You should always hire people better than you, because that is the way you grow, not by hiring people who are lesser capable than you, which is also a lesson of entrepreneurship. But coming back, find out what you are good at. What are your strengths? Is your strength more about marketing and sales? Then take that part in your business and hire somebody else for production. If you are good in technology, so one has to little bit reflect in what you are good at and find out a role for yourself. And last and important again is that work on those opportunities which are large. Because if you really want to be successful, admired, and somebody who has done difference to the at a large level, the business sector should be large. What I mean by that is, suppose you sometimes take an organization that you has only serve 25 customers, and you can do only business worth of 1 crore and just making it up. Then it's good, nothing wrong. You may be happy with it, but ultimately at some stage you will feel, oh, what difference I have made? How many shareholders, how many customers, how many employees I have looked at? I could have done still better. So the size of opportunity is also important, but that should not be a constraint. You can always start with a small, but always look at a larger picture in your circuit. You may start as a tailor, but you may start building, not tailor, but tailoring shop. And from tailoring shop, you will start building apparel factory. Now, that is because apparel is a big opportunity and you were in the right place, and so on. So some of the thought like this, what do you love to do? Which means even if you fail or even if it is hard work, you will enjoy it. That is important. If you don't have it, don't go there. You should have good strengths in that area. And last but not the least is it should be a large size opportunity which helps you to go. So those are 3 things you reflect upon before you jump in entrepreneurship. Next, having done that, obviously you should look at your ability to take risk and your ability to work hard for a few years before you become successful. Entrepreneurship, unfortunately, the other side of it is not an easy job. It is not a job that you will get a salary for from day one. Like when I started Mastek, for first 5-6 years, we were drawing very less salary. My background is that I studied at IIT, then I went to IIM Ahmedabad, and many of all my colleagues had a big job. They were working in big companies, banks, multinational companies. They were flying in aeroplane and flights. I was traveling in second-class train from Ghatkopar station in Mumbai to Nariman Point in my small office. All that we did because we had little bit of persistence and little bit of risk-taking ability. If these 2 things are not there, many people lose that patience. And I was telling someone today in the morning who started company, he was in Mastek, my company, many years ago. He is very proud that he learned entrepreneurship there and good qualities. And when he started, he is now successful. So he says, I have struggled hard for 5 years. So I said, look, I have a rule of 6. He said, what is the rule of 6? I said, rule of 6 is simple. For 6 years, you have to suffer in terms of less revenue. People will not support you. People will laugh at you saying, what business is he in? He doesn't know how to run business. You should have courage. It is after 6-7 years, suddenly something starts happening. And I have seen this only not in Mastek, of course, but I have started many other non-profits after that. I have mentored many entrepreneurs after that. And I see that after 5, 6, 7 years, suddenly what happens is customers start valuing you because you have delivered them and made them happy. Of course, you should have made them happy. Number two, people who wants to give you money feels confident. Oh, 6, 7 years, he's okay. Looks like he's working hard. Looks like he doesn't want to give up. Looks like he's getting customer. We give them a money. Your employees think you are good because if they join your company, maybe you will not close down. So 6, 7 years, suddenly things start putting everything in place and then you start moving up, up, up and up. I have seen this in Mastek. We thought of closing down Mastek after 6 years because my wife Padma used to say, why are you doing more business? More business you do, you are losing more money because we were making losses. So he says, don't expand. Better to stop and so on. So the point we are making is the risk and persistence, risk-taking ability, little bit of cushion so that if there is, you go negative, at least somebody is there to little bit help you is a good idea. Some savings with you so that you can persist. Otherwise, I have seen entrepreneurs who just stop business because they have finished their money and nobody is willing to give them money after 2 years. Because 2 years is small period. Everybody says, why should I give you money? You have done a bad business, you have lost money. At that time, you need money because you can, and if it is your own money, it is still better. So some kind of cushion does help. Some family support does help. People have succeeded without it. I'm not saying it is showstopper, but a risk-taking ability and more important, persistence to face hardship, difficulties. And when I started business, everyone said, what is this business? You have got good IIT, IIM degree. You have got good job, start a job, get married. You will be very happy. You stay a nice apartment. Life is done. Why are you starting that? And then I was starting in software, which nobody knew in 1980. 1980 when we started. I jokingly say that my mother never knew what business I was in because I could never show her my product. Software is not available to be shown, isn't it? And still worse, he said, okay, you don't show me a product, but tell me, where are your employees? And we didn't have any employees. And I used to speak at night time to my US customers. So she was firmly convinced I'm in a business which can't be shown. It must be some shady business which has to be done at night time. The point I'm making is, jokingly, is that there was no support from the society. And today there is a respect. You are very lucky. You have a lot of help available to you. You have a lot of support available to you. In fact, I say today, an entrepreneur has more support than what actually they can take. I mentor so many of them. There is an incubation facility today. Government wants to give you some money. I was just talking to a government officer who was advising me to help him find new entrepreneurs. I said, great. And so on. But at that time, we had a persistence. And mind you, I came from a family which had no business background. None of my forefathers, I'm sure, were doing any business of any kind. I lost my father at the age of 2. My mother and my mother's family were freedom fighters. I'm talking Goa and Portuguese. They were fighting against Goans, Portuguese. So we had to exile out of Goa, and I went to a place called Dadra Nagar Haveli, and I got one of the worst education schooling. If you ask me, it is worse than any worse school that you see today. We had one teacher for all subjects, and I used to study with Adivasi students, 16-year-old. So some of these things should not deter you. Persistence, working hard always helps. And definitely in first 6, 7 years. Business always will have problems. Business always will go up and down. That is the part of business. It is not a job. Business means you will become manager, then you become general manager, then you will become CEO. All that will not happen. You are everything every day. From very one day you are a chaprasi in your company and you are a CEO also. So you don't have a promotion. Your only promotion is your company becoming more successful. And that requires persistence. So I'll not take more time. I'll just take another 4-5 minutes because we'll do question answers. Now, you have found out what you love to do. You have found out what you are good at. You have found out a large opportunity. You have started business. Then you have a persistence. You have risk-taking ability, and you are in business. Now, the real metal or real thing comes up. How to build a business to become larger, larger, and larger. So on that, I will spend next 5 minutes. So to that, my message is very simple. You need a victory. V, right? That victory is 3 V's. There are 3 V's needed to be successful from where you are when you have just established after 5-6 years maybe. 3 V's are vision, values, and vitality. So let me explain 3 V's. No business will be successful unless it has a vision to be something beyond just becoming profitable. When any large organization started by entrepreneurs, the person had a vision to make difference to the society, difference to a set of customers. Like somebody in healthcare would say that I am in business of seeing that people above 50 years do not get sick because of XYZ. Now that's a vision. That means you will do anything and everything that is required to see that people above 50 do not get this disease or this particular illness. If you define a vision like that, then you have a power. You see the power of that, then you say, okay, let me talk to all 50-year-old people. Let me find out how they get that illness. Let me see what, and so on and so forth. So vision, well-defined, well-articulated, is a powerful way, and it always carries you ahead. You know the story of a person, which I always say to my employees also. There were 3 people who were building bricklaying. So one person went and asked the first person, what are you doing? He says, no, I'm just laying bricks. I have a cement, I have a brick, I'll put 1 brick above it. Second fellow said, yeah, actually I'm not doing bricklaying, I am building a wall. But the third fellow said, sir, I'm not building wall. I'm not doing bricklaying, I am building a temple. Now that person will be most successful because he's always looking at every brick that is putting, how it will look in overall temple. And then he'll have an energy to work hard because his work is never over till the temple is ready. So have a vision which is larger, which is purposeful, which is achievable. You can't say that I will make whole world without any illness. Now that is not something you will be able to do ever. So have some vision which is powerful, which is achievable, but it is difficult, not achievable so easily. That will drive you. So that's number 1. Number 2, values. Second V, values are very, very required. Values is about being ethical. Values is about respecting your employees as individuals and not treating them as some slaves. Values is about giving full value to the customers, telling them more than what they want, surprise them, delight them. Those are the business values that are required. Values is about being very transparent. In Mastek, for example, I started a practice of what is called as, now they call it 360 degrees and all that. I started it 30 years ago. I used to call it as company feedback. It means every manager is to sit with employee and ask the person 100 questions, set of 100 questions, and tell them what they think about company. And that was the biggest advantage we had in terms of improving ourselves. Now people like those values. They said this company is transparent. They want to listen to us. I must work for this company. So there are many practices I had for values. In fact, values we defined in Mastek as 7 values. One of them was employee, what we call respect for individual. Second value we call is transparency. Third value we call customer delight. fourth value we called as doing best in whenever you want to do. Then we had one value which is called long-term relationship. We are now never look at something which is just for 1 year. We look at, will this customer stay with for 10 years? And so on. So you should have some well-defined framework of how to conduct business. Values is about how we behave here. In Mastek, when somebody told me write values, I said, it's very simple. He says, no, people employ consultant. I said, don't do that. Just write down how we conduct our business. Those are our values. What is important is when I go out of this cabin, how I treat the employee, how I handle my phone call, how I look at shareholder. That is my value. That is already defined. So just write it down. The point I'm making is values is the foundation, I say. Vision is the top floor. Now you just can't have values, because just having values is not enough, because you are not building some non-profit, or you are not becoming a saint, have a lot of values, but they may not necessarily be good business people, entrepreneurs. So you need vision. You need to see larger picture. But just vision is not enough either, because there are many people I've seen, many people who started business, they had a lofty vision, they were serious, but no values. Many negative values, created some bad practices, and then all failed after few years. So vision and values. Now there is a middle floor, I call it, which is vitality. What is vitality? Vitality is a missing piece. You may have a good vision, you have a good dream, you have a good values, you conduct business well, but you don't have that energy to make things happen. Unless you have make things happen, that energy, which is about running organizations, we call it execution. You may think it is too early to talk about it, but when you become large, you have to build your department to take care of people. You have to do department for take care of finance. You have to set target. You have to set goals for all of them, because you can't do everything. Please remember, you will become as large as what you cannot do. Because if you do everything yourself, then you will remain one-man organization. So if you want to build an organization, you have to build the whole infrastructure, which requires energy to push things and put people to perform well. And that is an art by itself. A real leader is a guy who brings best out of people. So if you are an entrepreneur, you have to be leader of people. You have to be leader of large stakeholders who look at you as somebody who can charge them and deliver results, because you are concerned about them, you think about them, you set goals around it. So unless you do vitality, just vision and values are not enough. So let me summarize. Find out what you love to do, find out what you are good at, and look at large opportunity. That's a beginning point. Number 2, be prepared for risk-taking, be prepared for persistence, hard work, at least for first 6, 7, 8 years. I'm making it difficult here because I think you should know. And once you reach there, you need a vitality, you need vision, you need values. And life you will enjoy, as I said, because you would have made difference to your employees. You have generated large employment. I in Mastek feel very glad that I have almost 30,000-40,000 employees who have passed through Mastek today. Some of them have become CEOs. Some of them call me. Some of them become entrepreneurs. That is the greatest satisfaction, mind you. I am very happy that I have thousands of customers. Some of them may meet me and tell me, sir, I am using your software. I say, when did you buy? He says, 1995. My God, I have stopped that software. He says, don't worry. He says, it's still working. See the satisfaction you will get out of it. And then, of course, you have people who invested in you. You have multiplied their money, then it's still better. So you will lead a journey which is purposeful, which is fulfillment, and feeling good about yourself and the world. Thank you. Be entrepreneur, be successful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Desai. That was immensely inspirational. I'm sure our students will learn a lot. And what I personally took away from all of this is, when many people think of entrepreneurship, they think about how much money they will make. In your entire talk, You spoke of the difference you make to your customers, the difference you make to your employees, the difference you make to youth. And even when you spoke about money, you spoke about how you made money for people who invested in you. I think that's beautiful. So you see the entire journey as a way to make a difference in other people's life. And that's, I think, ultimately what gives you satisfaction. So this is amazing. Thank you so much for
Thanks.
sharing
Thanks.
your kind words. So, sir, I've got a few questions that we have collected from some of our students. Our
Yeah.
students have been involved in the Festex, which has been happening in Bombay over the past week, and they've come up with some amazing projects. Now, many of them must be thinking of, I've made this small little project. Now, can this become a business? So, I've got some questions for you, and it'd be great if you can answer some of these questions for some of our students.
Sure.
Now, when you started Mastek, as you mentioned, back in 1980, the circumstances were very different from what they are today. The risks of failure were very high, and not many people took the risk. So, what made you take your steps in entrepreneurship? Because you also mentioned that your family didn't have any business background. What made you take these steps?
Okay, so that's again a long story, but to make it very short, I was at IIM and I was lucky and blessed to meet two of my colleagues who shared that vision of our mind, that we have to be independent and try to find out our journey of ourselves. So what happened really was we planned our journey actually right in IIM Ahmedabad, in the school. Now everybody encourages, but that time nobody was encouraging us. But what happened was I could see some role models in front of me, some of my seniors who had become very successful at that point of time. I could see that I am not a kind of person who could work in an organization and just get orders. I was feeling unfulfilled working in organizations. I had some past experience. And I had here two or other colleagues who were also thinking along similar lines. So all of that together was a melting pot. And that made me feel I should take this risk. Whatever happens, we will see. We are all together, each of our friends. By the way, the team members that started Mastek are still there with me. And one more person joined after that. 4 years have passed, not 30, but 38 years have passed. We still are together as founders of the company. And that has been a great inspiration from the beginning.
Brilliant. And as you mentioned that what helped you was seeing role models in front of you. I think we are lucky to have a role model like you that, I'm hoping that our students get inspired by. Thank you so much. So, how can we promote and develop entrepreneurship in a way that the economy of the country can be benefited? Because I believe that, this is the engine of the economy. So, what can we do to develop and promote it?
Yeah, rightly, as you said, Sumit, that this is an engine. People underestimate this engine and value of that engine. I'll give you an example. As I again say, IT industry was just $50 million. It has now become $150 billion. So some of you young students may not see the value of these numbers, but it is 3,000 times bigger, 3,000 times bigger than 1988 when NESCOM was started. When that's an association, I'm one of the founder members. So how did that happen? That happened because entrepreneurs were there. We are employing 4 lakh people today. 4 million people, sorry. 45 lakh people in our industry. Indirectly, we are employing another 3 times as many. And we have created families and health, wealth for many, many people. So entrepreneurship is a driving engine for IT industry and for the nation. And government has to do 3 things to make it happen. 1, government has to liberalize the economy so that you have to compete and succeed the best. If you don't allow that, and if you run a government which puts a lot of regulations, then you earn money by solving some problems of government inefficiency, which is not a good way of doing business. So one is liberalize is one. Number two, once you liberalize, people don't define market as only India. IT industry define market as outside India. Indian IT market is only 5%. The whole world is 95%. So one has to open up the economy is one lesson. Number two, government has to increase the difficulty in starting entrepreneurs. Today, so many entrepreneurs come and tell me, sir, some inspector comes and tells me, आपका घर में लाइट का एक बल्ब बराबर नहीं चल रहा है ऑफिस में, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, वो हमारा रेगुलेशन में लिखा है. सॉरी टू यूज हिंदी. द पॉइंट आई एम सेइंग इज ऐसा ऐसा सब मुश्किलें डालेंगी आप बिजनेस वालों को तो कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा. सो वी कीप ऑन टेलिंग पीपल remove all the impediments. So that is second. The third one is create environment to help. That means today we have incubators. In IIT Bombay, where I'm involved for last 15 years, incubation called SIGN. We tell people to come in, we give them a lot of space, we give them a lot of mentoring, we bring money for money people who can help them and so on, and then help them to prosper. So government should allow a lot of incubators, a lot of inspiration in the schools, colleges, and so on to make it happen. Give finances. Government has now created a nice fund of funds. So it funds venture capital. Venture capital in turn gives you money. So all these things they have to do so that people have all the support.
Right. So on our level, how can schools and colleges promote entrepreneurship so that from a very early age, people start thinking of life in an entrepreneurial way? What do you think?
That's a great question. And actually our problem starts at 11 for entrepreneurship. We make and teach our student in such a way that their all curiosity is gone. They only mug up, as you know. All of us have also done it when we were younger in school. So when you have to only answer a question, you can't become an entrepreneur. To become an entrepreneur, you have to find a problem first. So we have to find people who discover a problem. Finding may be seen as negative, but I don't mean negative in that sense, that it is about finding something which is not at solved and trying to solve that problem is a first step towards entrepreneurship. That opens up their mind and they don't only read and answer the questions, which is not good otherwise in any case, but it is the last thing for entrepreneurship because they only think that they have to solve problem as given to them and go home. So first, create a curiosity in the minds of people, create a discovery mindset. So that's one. Number two, you should have a skill-based learning for people apart from just the theory. So entrepreneurship is not about being best theory person, as you know. Entrepreneurship is about working with hands. So I do a leadership program for girls to build a leadership among them. I tell them to do projects. I teach them leadership, but do projects in solving problems of society. Dirt around their houses, or sexual violence, or domestic violence, or energy issue. When they work with hand, they realize, oh my God, I can do something. So we allow people to do something about it and train them on those skills. And third and last is, I think in our schools, our heroes that we have in our school books are only the values who are politicians, sometimes artists, scientists. We don't have any entrepreneurs as heroes. You see, I never heard of any entrepreneur in my school. Not that the others should not be there, but these guys also should be there. They also built a country. How many times have you seen that, this X guy built an organization, which built a global organization, or in country, he created jobs for 10,000 people. We don't talk about that, right? So our heroes and our role models also have to be created, which are around entrepreneurship. We don't have them. So that's my short answer.
Thank you so much. So you speak a lot about, building a big company which addresses a big problem and is global. But sometimes, entrepreneurship doesn't always need to be about a large company. In fact, recently we see a lot of women expanding their horizons in the field of entrepreneurship in various sectors. Now, what is your advice to an average Indian woman who wants to start a small scale industry just to see her own economic growth and to make her family and her surroundings better? What would you say to her?
Thanks, Ubi, for asking that question. I agree. Entrepreneurship is not about large companies only. I was talking of large only to raise your inspiration, to raise your hope. And it is not about large organizations. After all, there are only few people who, there are only as many large organizations. But idea was that if you aim at large organizations, at least, you can achieve even 1/10 of it, you will feel good about it. So it is always the stretch that I wanted to create, and it is not saying, yeah. So there are so many opportunities. In fact, as I told, 95% of organizations are small scale organizations. Are they not entrepreneurs? They are. They are very much entrepreneurs. And I'm very glad that women are coming out now in the field to start. And I have many leaders who are doing great work. As I speak, by the way, next week I'm doing an event. I am in part of CII, Industry Association, where I'm driving entrepreneurship, and I'm creating a panel discussion for women, and I'm bringing women entrepreneurs to come together and solve the problem, inspire them. So there are 2-3 things that women specifically have an issue. Number one is about generally attitude of society saying that, you should be at home. Why should be you at doing entrepreneurship? Be at home, do something, have a family. Now that mindset is the biggest constraint that we have. Of course, with today's education, today's attitude which is changing, there is still a better thing. But what happens is, if women should not get constrained and take first step out, if you are not already out. Sitting at home and just thinking about it is not solving the problem. Take a small problem outside your house. Take maybe your society, there is a problem of dirt. Take that problem, solve it. It is entrepreneurship problem. It is a problem also of entrepreneurship, but it will give you courage. It will give you a satisfaction that I have solved the problem. I am not made to just sit at home. So take first step out. First step is last step, as they say, for becoming entrepreneur. So if you have any fear of becoming entrepreneur, first thing you should do is that. Remove your inhibition and fear that you can't do anything. That, I tell you, for me, is the biggest impediment for entrepreneurship, and more so in women, because their work and their job sometimes forces them to be inside. Next step after that, of course, there are women who are already working, successful. For them, that is not a problem. They have shown. For them, the next problem is, how do I take the risk? Because I have an issue in terms of what is best thing for me. And then there again, you apply that formula that I said. Find out what you love to do. Find out what is you are good at. And big opportunity. I tell you, my daughter-in-law has started business, by the way. She's actually a software professional, but she somehow found that she loves about building jewelry. And she has really a passion for that. She loves doing it, and she has some flair of doing it. She started that, and she is doing well now. Why? Because she picked up a business which fitted her mindset. So don't do something which somebody else is doing. Find out what is good for you. You may be good in, let's say, you have a best cook. You have already done it so well. Why not start a large organization? Start something which gives food to many people. There are many who give us, isn't it, in our offices. They are all started by ladies. We have Lijjat Papad, which was started, by the way, which was started by a Seva organization. But it is, they started because they felt they were best at it. Nobody else can do that, and so on. So take something small which you are good at and start a small way. That is second way of doing it. And don't compete and don't try to build something which somebody else has done. You find out what you are good at. The third one, which women again should be very careful, look at is uh, don't look at business is just about about getting some business. Business is also about building something where people are with you, who want to work with you, with whom you can delegate. Sometimes, and this is not about women alone, it is about men also. We try to control everything ourselves because when we start small, we think everybody is around us to cheat us or everybody we can't trust. I can do better than them. So delegation is something that is very missing at some time in entrepreneurs, and end up doing something of their own, and then they kind of don't realize that some problem they can't solve. So, as I said again, three things. One is start doing something if you are not already in the field. Number two, look at what you are good at, what you can leverage on, knowing your contacts, knowing your family. Take a business which is around your family business, because then you will succeed well. Why try hard? Of course, you have to like it, but suppose it is very near, it is good, and so on. So try some success factor which will make you successful. See, mind you, the immediate problem that we have is if you are successful in first attempt, your confidence goes up. So pick up something where you will succeed quickly.
So one of our students, Shazan, is asking that in the beginning of an entrepreneurial journey, we all know that money is required. Now, how is it possible for a middle class person to collect this money to basically start on this journey?
How to collect the
How
money?
do you get the money given that you come from
How
a
to
middle
get
class?
money?
Yeah,
I see. Okay, so what I'll say, many won't believe. I think there is no problem of getting money in business today. So everyone says, no, you are saying, what are you saying? I go to so many people, they don't give me money. So the problem is with you. You have not created a vision and sufficiently compelling reason for somebody to invest in you. So when there are enough people today that I meet who tell me, please, Ashank, tell me a good idea. I have a lot of money. And they don't get a good idea. So first start blaming yourself if you are not getting money. I'm not saying it is easy. It is not waiting around the corner, somebody will give you money. Everybody thinks 10 times before giving 100 rupees. However, there is a problem of ideas and compelling thing. Spend time in that first before running around to get money. Start to find an idea where A is successful, that big idea I talked. B, people talking to you feel that I can do it. They should also feel that this guy can do it. We have this VC community which says in 5 minutes, explain me, 5 minute speech, you would know. That 5 minute speech should be such that A, it's a great idea. B, I can do it. C, I will be able to build organizations where I will be successful, and so on and so forth. If you have that, then money is not a problem. People are waiting for to give you money is my simple answer to what we are saying. There is so much of money flowing. It was not that 25 years ago. When I had venture capital, there was no concept of sweat equity. Now I don't want to explain this audience what is sweat equity means. You had to dilute yourself completely. Now you can value your equity at a first price, and so on. So there's much better things today. What is missing is ideas which will make money, if I may say that, in a simple way.
So here I'm going to cheat on behalf of my students, and I'm going to ask you what are some of the ideas that they should be thinking about? What are problems in the next 30, 40 years that they should be looking to solve that can possibly become the next Google, the next Tesla, the next Facebook?
Oh my God, that's a difficult question. It's a simple and difficult question. Simple to the extent that we know the areas which are going to grow. We know that technology is going to drive this world. We have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, we have Internet of Things. I can throw some lot of things to all of you. There is no time for it. So one is technology is going to drive and there are opportunities there. Number two, we are going to have problems of energy. Energy is going to be costly. Energy will not be enough. New sources of energy, clean sources of energy, easy way of distributing it, storing it is going to be a big opportunity. Number three, water is going to be on which Third World War will be fought, as they say. Water is getting scarce year after year. Anybody who finds solution to bring water out of a seawater at a commercial rate, which everybody can pay as a business right now. But that apart, there is so much to do in getting water and distributing water and water-related issues. The fifth large area, which is going to be very, very important, is environment. We all know we are spoiling environment. Arctic is melting. Water is getting, temperatures are going up. It's a long story. Again, we don't have time for it. But environment, pollution, cleanliness, all is a big opportunity again. So there are so many opportunities. The last one, which is going to be very important, is a spiritual entrepreneurship. There are going to be large number of old people, percentage will go up. They will be all looking for peace of mind. They would have enough money, but they would have family issues. They will have this issue, that issue. They all look for the happiness. And you know how big is our so-called sometimes fraud community who takes advantage of it. But there is going to be a big happiness industry. If you can create happiness through whatever way, whether it's a spiritual message, whether it is yoga, whether it is movies, maybe it will be a large thing. So these are very quick ideas. Now it is easy to give that, but finding an opportunity is not easy. You'll have to think through it. Is all that is.
I think that's important, but at least you've given us some directions. Now, so you are on the board of organizations that support more than 25 NGOs across the country. Now, you also support Vidya. I just want you to tell us, what is it that you see in Vidya? I know we see a lot, but why do you feel Vidya is making a difference, and why is it that you support Vidya? Tell us a bit about, from the outside, what do you see in the work that we're doing and how important it is?
Okay, so there are 2 or 3 things that I see in Vidya. Number one, any organization should have a leader to have confidence in it. In Rashmi, I have a great confidence. I have seen her working. I have seen her energy. I have seen her passion. So I know that if I do anything for Vidya, it will be much better utilized than somebody else who is not of that same caliber. So that is one. If that is not there, I will not even venture. We get so many, all of us get so many requests, and we say no to most of them. So that's one. Second thing, it has to solve a problem which is a difficult one, which as India is still not solved, which is about literacy, which is about building good education, which is about creating girl children in particular, a vision for tomorrow. If something like that is there, then you feel it is good that I can relate with it for my reason. That is second. Third, of course, after all these 2 things, we should have a track record. There is no substitute to track record. You can say anything, but on ground, are people talking great thing about you? Are students doing great job? Are you are attracting greatest of talent? I see that in Vidya. I see many people whom I knew who were earlier in IITs and so on are joining. It means it is an organization. So the money, effort, time will be much utilized. So that is the reason.
I think you mentioned that a company starts becoming successful after 7 years. We can say that Vidya has done that journey 5 times over 35 years now.
I agree. So Vidya doesn't have to take my advice. They don't need it.
No, but our students are really, really blessed to have leaders like you come and address them, inspire them, and tell them in very simple words what they need to do. I think your points about the three V's, that's the vision, the vitality, and the uh,
Values.
values. I think without these three, it puts it in a very simple way what we need to do. Otherwise, I know there are so many people who say, I've got an idea. Now, how do I build a business? But the way you've broken it down, the way you've talked about do what you love and then persist with it. I think these are messages that it doesn't matter what industry you are in, what kind of business you're going to grow. It's
Right.
something that is relevant to absolutely everybody. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. We're just
Thanks.
about out of time at 5 o'clock.
I
Thank
know.
you everyone who's joined in today for this webinar. Sir, it would be a pleasure to have you come and visit some of our stalls at Festex to see some of the amazing work that our students are doing. Thank you for your time,
Great.
sir. Thank you.
Great Festex. Great effort by all of you. I'm sure it will be great success and I'm going to visit. It is up to 27th, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, it's all of this week. Yes.
Okay. So I will do that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Thanks to all of you. Be a great career ahead of all of you.
Thank you.